Hey, how's it going, YouTube? It is another Monday, and we've got some questions to answer for you all. We've got people hanging in chat. We've got some from the YouTube comments. We're not going to waste any time. So let me know if there's any suggestions you have down below as well. Love doing different video ideas, as well as hit subscribe, turn on notifications. Helps me out greatly. But the first question is, what is your opinion on the state of Rocket League, and what should they do in the gameplay perspective to re-inject that same excitement you said you get from new patches in different games? This is a tough question because I think there is some things that are holding it back. We all know that Rocket League in particular, it is very difficult to implement new features and new things, especially if they are actively working on a new version of the game in Unreal Engine 5 or making it part of the Epic Games ecosystem. And for developers, it's like, do you spend time, effort in building new exciting game modes or things that keep the game exciting? Or do you just admit like, hey, we're not developing anymore for Rocket League, we're trying to work on Rocket League 2 or Rocket League UE5, whatever they're going to call it, and that's the expectation, and you guys just kind of got to twiddle your thumbs till then? So I think that's part of the initial argument. I think we have all agreed for a long time that the number one thing that needs to happen is a creative mode. They need to basically take the number one YouTuber's success in Lethamyr and allow the entire community to go through that. They need to allow the building blocks in a forge system or a creative mode to allow us to create and make and do stuff in the simplistic way that you can do with like Rocket Racing or Fortnite or all those games in the past. And once you provide the capability to do that, make it accessible and easy for everybody to play. It is the number one thing that is needed. The creativity side of things that are limited, because like, let's call it what it is. Fortnite has some dope collabs, but the biggest game modes are no build and then the standard, and they change the map and they make some changes to that. You can't do that in Rocket League. You can't change the map. Although I think they should experiment with that. So I think bringing back Rocket Labs, having people play test actively in a playlist, little changes, making the map smaller, bigger, wider, taller, whatever it may be. Maybe you move where the goal is located. Maybe you change how much boost is used. Maybe you change how many players are on the field as you scale up the map. That is the stuff that I think they could implement that would be relatively easy. They don't have to do landscapes. They can do it in the bare bones type field style, but they need to just throw every idea in there, see how many people actively play it, and then if it's really good and it takes off, develop it into something more. I think that stuff would help significantly, but the biggest issue with Rocket League is it is same. It is copy paste, same old, same old. And intrinsically, that feeling of playing Rocket League is going to be embedded in all of us, where you may take a long break, but Rocket League, because there's nothing like it, is so, like, it is so infectious when you play this game, where you're like, the feeling of hitting the ball and driving the car and the one-to-one with physics engine versus effort and stuff, like, it's why people keep coming back. So finding ways to keep that feeling going is tough. Volleyball mode, so on and so forth. They need to find more ways outside of standard traditional template on how to play this game, and they have to put it in. Cosmetics and stuff are not the case. They need to do stuff that is new, and you got to keep pumping that out, especially for a game that's been around for 9 years. But it's tough. It's very tough. Next question: what is the ceiling for esports? That is a very tough question. Realistically, I think it's very difficult to know what the ceiling for esports is, primarily because we are still so far in our infancy compared to traditional sports. The amount of love and attention and money that goes into traditional sports is nowhere near the same compared to esports. You're talking staffing issues, the way that these businesses are ran, the funding that is, the advertising, the broadcasting, right? All those things add up to provide what is a league that has gone through a very, very scrutinous process and so much refinement to make the NFL or the NBA what it is today. There's a reason why it's successful, but like, we don't even have those types of sponsorships. We don't have that same level of production quality. We don't have stadiums and venues and everything else. So while it is beneficial for esports because it is so accessible, I can just pull up a YouTube page, or I can pull up a Twitch page, or wherever the live stream is broadcasted. Doesn't matter where I'm at, who I am, or where I'm from. Anybody can do it. Anybody can play. Anybody can sign up. But there is definitely a little bit more suit and tie that needs to be applied if we're going to continue to transition in a positive direction. Right now, esports is going through a massive refinement process that has been desperately needed. There's been a ton of layoffs. There's a lot of nepotism. There's a lot of people who don't know what the heck they're doing. and it's holding a lot of things back. You know, people are hiring friends and they're just riding the coattails. They're taking investor money and just lighting it on fire. And currently, a lot of those orgs that are under fire for that are now starting to realize we need to do things that make sense. We need to stop signing these insane contracts that don't benefit us and only benefit the player. We need to put our foot down and start acting more intelligently that makes financial stability a thing that is possible. It's been the wild, wild west for a while, but there is a lot of things, whether I be as broadcast talent, as a consultant, as a player, that need to get fixed. The communication's terrible. Everything's done last minute. There's lack of structure. And at the same time, like, you're finally starting to see developers like Riot, like Epic, like so on and so forth, understand that the Valve route's kind of the right one. Valve, Counter-Strike, Dota 2, so on and so forth, are a very firm understanding of we don't know shit about running an esport. Why are we in charge of doing that? We're going to make a really good game that you guys love to play, and we're going to try to monetize that as much as possible. We're going to entrust third parties, TOs of all different landscapes, to do it the right way. So you are starting to see some people educate that way. That is my hope. And the way that Epic goes is Epic goes, you know what? Rocket League is a dope game, but we have no idea how to run an esport. So we're going to let Blast and all these other third-party TOs take over. We're going to let Shift do league play. We're going to get Lawler to do some cool other thing. We're going to let Johnny Boy do the 1v1 scene with Fear. We're going to let, you know, RLCS continue to exist as the professional 3v3. We're going to let this league be 2v2. We're going to just fuck off and let them do their thing. We're not going to limit them. We're not going to determine how much money they can make off of it. We're going to back the heck off so these guys can turn this into a long-term sustainable thing, because the more successful and the more money they make, the more people are playing a game, the more people are watching it, the more people are buying item. As long as we focus on the development of the title and making it as good as a game as possible, the people who run the competition can roam free as long as they don't do, you know, tobacco, alcohol, you know, the standard guidelines that follow through E for everyone. But the limitations that they have set in place about how much money we can pay out, how much we can raise for funding, it limits us heavily. So if they remove those restrictions and enable us to kind of just make and break, and the competition then becomes from what event is good versus what other event is good, and the competition becomes who has the better event, what are they doing to level it up, it benefits everybody else. So that is what I'm hoping, that everybody starts to understand, that limiting and being strict and not letting people in and not doing a collaborative effort is kneecapping, holding all of the industry back. But it, as I've stated numerous times, takes a village. The developers have to be on board. There needs to be a community that cares about your game desperately. You have to sustain it and support it in a way that financially makes sense, and you can't do that with limitations. You've got to provide good content. You've got to have player personalities that care, that are willing to grind your game, that are willing to be public facing, that can continue. Like, it all is cyclical. It is all important, and it takes everyone to really make it successful. It's tough. It's very tough, and there's a reason why certain games dominate and other games are just a blip and they fall apart. You know, the fighting game community, I think, is a phenomenal example, Saifi, where like you have a very grassroots endemic fan base that just desperately wants it to survive, and a lot of it is community-based funding to make those tournaments happen. And like, yeah, Evo is happening in Vegas, I think, right now. It's a unique circumstance, and having hubs like that where it brings an entire genre together is dope. I don't know why there's not an Evo for FPS. Maybe you consider that DreamHack or PAX or something to that extent, but like, can't do that with a game like Rocket League. Honestly, I think Rocket League is more like a fighting game and has a fighting game community type style. Like, it would be dope to see 1v1 tournaments or 2v2 show match or something like that showcased at Evo. It would be insane. Whether that happens or not, we have no idea, but it would be dope to see. Something to consider. Maybe someone should make that a proposal. Maybe someone should go to Evo and be like, yo, Rocket League 1v1s here would be excellent. And you would have the craziest bracket ever. If you had a just giant double elim like Smash, lower bracket run, like the Mango type style run from lower bracket against Hungry Box, but in Rocket League 1v1s, that crowd would be nuts. And the casters better be standing in the crowd commentating just like they do in Smash. It'd be hype. It'd be so hype. Possibility, something to consider. For Q&A, have you seen any viable kickoff strats being used that aren't dependent on speed flips or lower ranks that where speed flipping isn't a thing, like the jump wave dash kickoff? So jump wave dash kickoff isn't bad. The difficulty though is you're doing so many mechanics that are overcomplicated, and you're better off doing a speed flip to get there first. Kickoffs in general though, you can do delayed kickoffs, so you're hitting it second so it bounces past, back left and back right kickoffs. There's a lot of different things you can do with kickoffs. I recommend experimenting. A lot of it's consistency and making sure you're hitting the ball straight on and pushing it through. But yeah, I mean, you can even look like K-Corp at the beginning of this RLCS season, obviously tried a bunch of different kickoffs, but experiment, have fun with it. There's nothing wrong with changing it up. There is a lot of different kickoffs there, but most lower ranks are just trying to hit the ball, if I'm being honest. Like, you don't really see any coordination in that or anything, unless you're playing like high level ones. But for the most part, it is pretty straightforward. Even though you don't know a lot about the Squishy signing to be co-owner of C9, what are your thoughts on the move? Do you think Squishy will be able to make money from this or lose money? Do you think he'll have a lot of influence for signing teams and players as well? I can tell you, I'm almost for certain that he is going to be the one to make all the decisions on the Rocket League side of things, which is good for us. It means Cloud9 is going to stick around in Rocket League. I am almost certain they're signing Snowman. If I had to guess, if Squishy is signing up as their sub and now he's a co-owner, I would assume the Cloud9 deal with Snowman likely to go forward, assuming details and stuff play a part. Do I think Squishy has the business acumen or the experience to help Cloud9? On that side of things, not really. The big high-level decisions, no. But if he sits and observes and learns over time, those opportunities could be provided. He does have a lot of experience as a player, the things that he likes and dislikes, things that he appreciates in his experiences as a competitor, and maybe those things can then be, educated upon internally to make Cloud9 overall a better organization when it comes to handling teams. Will he get his money back? I don't know. I don't know how much he signed for. I don't know what kind of percentage he got, because Cloud9 is a very respectable brand. So a lot of those things are very, very interesting to see how it develops. I would like to see the, the deals, and I like the specifics of it, as I've already talked to you about, but it's tough to say if he's going to get anything back on it. I will say the benefit of him associating to a brand of that size and having a piece of the pie is it's self-fulfilling. It's beneficial for him. And assuming as esports is going to continue to, in my assumption, trend upwards with the way that people view it and watch it and the younger ages getting involved, Cloud9 I don't think is going anywhere. I don't foresee Cloud9 dipping or falling apart or disbanding or getting bought out or anything like that. So assuming when esports starts to trend in a positive direction again, financially things start to get back to normal in like 2025, 2026, I would have to project. Yeah, it's going to be beneficial for him. So I think it's a smart move. I think it's really good. A lot of people, myself included, would love to attach and sign on and be a part of an organization with long-term plans. I'll be straight up with you guys. If an organization was to come to me and goes, hey, we want you to be a content creator or an operations person or someone that works for this org, the first thing I'm telling them is like, hey, I would love to, but just know these are my intentions. I want to help build and grow. I want a seat at the table. I want to be able to prove myself so when the time comes, I can work up in this company and have an actual opinion carrying weight when it comes to the big decisions in the future of this company. That's what I want. Because after doing this for 10 years, like, yeah, you want to build towards something. You want to grow. And I've been doing it selfishly for myself for 10 years. To do that part of a team would be awesome. To collaborate and build towards something would be awesome. Part of the reason why I want to do this off-season tournament is I want to build something long-standing that can continuously evolve. I've done enough low-hanging fruit stuff. I've done enough entry-level stuff. I'm trying to do big projects now. And if it's not worth my time, I'm not going to do it. And that's kind of just where I'm at. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how things develop. With that said, crazy Q&As, a lot of big picture stuff that we talked about in this one. If you guys would like to hear more, as always, comments down below. Let me know what you guys want to hear. Let me know what you guys want to see. Any video ideas, stuff like that. And while you're down there, like, subscribe, notifications. We'll see you in the next video. Peace.